The first penetration testing section in this course is going to be the network hacking section. The reason why I choose to start with this is because everything you think of it is connected to a network. So whether your target is a personal computer, whether it's a server, whether it's a company, or even if it's just a website, all of these systems are actually connected to a network. Literally, when you just connect to the internet, you're connecting to a network. Because the internet is just a really big network. So it is very important that you understand how networks work and how devices communicate with each other, before we actually move into the next sections. So this section is actually going to be divided into 3 subsections. In the first subsection, we're going to talk about all of the attacks that you can do before connecting to a network. So you literally just have a computer with a network interface, possibly a Wi-Fi adapter. And we're going to see what can you do now before even connecting to anything. In the second subsection, I'm gonna show you how to crack Wi-Fi keys and gain access to Wi-Fi networks. Whether they use WEP, WPA or WPA2. Once you have the access, you can move to the third section, which will apply for both Wi-Fi and wired networks. All of the attacks that you'll learn in the third subsection apply whenever you are able to connect to the network. Once you are able to gain access to the network. And here is where the real fun starts, because you are going to learn a number of powerful attacks that will allow you to intercept the connections in the network and capture everything sent in it, including usernames, passwords, URLs, chat messages and so on. Not only that, you'll also be able to modify data as it's being sent in the air. So you'll be able to control the requests, serve people take updates, inject evil code into the pages that they load and so many other cool things. So everything in the third section will apply for both Wi-Fi and wired networks. Now before we start talking about networking, you need to have a basic understanding on how networks work. Now we all know that a network usually contains a number of clients connected to each other. Clients usually connect to a network in order to share data or share a resource. A really good example of a resource that we all have connected to networks in order to access is the internet, so we connect to Wi-Fi networks and even wired networks all the time just to access the internet. Now all networks, whether it's Wi-Fi or wired, work on the same principle. They have a device that is considered as a server. Now in many cases, for example in your home network, this server is your router. This is also referred as an access point. Now this router or server or access point is the only device that has access to the source. So none of these clients have direct access to the resources even after connecting to the network. The only way they can access the resource is through the access point. So let's say for example you're a client number 1 and you're connected to your home network over a Wi-Fi or a wired connection. And then you opened your browser and you typed google.com. What happens is your computer will send a request to the access point asking for google.com. The access point has access to the resources, which is the internet. In this example. So it's going to go and look for google.com. It will receive google.com and it'll forward that response to your computer. And as a result you will see the website loading on your browser. So if you actually go to your router at home and look at it, it's connected through a cable to the wall. And this is how it's getting its internet access. Therefore it is the only device in your network that has direct access to the resource. And none of the computer is connected to the network can't access the source. Or can't access the internet without the router, without the access point. So the only way for all of the connected clients to access the resources to go through the router. Know the data tries varied between the clients and the access point packets. So you could think of all of these arrows as a series of packets being transmitted between the client and thereafter as requests and responses. Now in Wi-Fi networks these packets are transmitted in the air. Therefore if you have a wireless card and you're within range you'll be able to capture all of these requests and responses. So basically you'll be able to see anything that any computer connected to the same network as you does on the internet, because you will have to send all of this data through the access point. And because they're sending data in the area because you're in a Wi-Fi network, you'll basically be able to capture these requests and the responses, and you'll be able to see that you are. Else they visit the usernames, the passwords, they enter the chat messages, anything they do on the internet will be sent as packets. And therefore you'll be able to capture it and analyze it. We'll talk more about that and more about how networks work as we go through the course. This is enough to get you going through the next few lectures so that you can sniff to analyze it and start launching some cool free connection tags.